Hey everybody, it's Chloe from Brit & Co., entertainment editor, TV lover, fangirl extraordinaire, and today we are walking through the 11 best TV shows of 2024 because believe it or not, y'all, 2025 is right around the corner. We're starting off strong with My Lady Jane on Prime Video. Yes, it did get canceled. We're holding space for that. But season 1 is still absolutely worth a watch because of how phenomenal it was. The series stars Emily Bader, Edward Bluemel, Anna Chancellor, Dominic Cooper, Jordan Peters. It's stacked. The script is almost unbelievable. I think a lot of my issues with TV in the last few years has been script-based. And so the fact that the script is so witty and clever and just well done and the dialogue is well done makes it that much more of an enjoyable watch and really sucks you in. And also, Emily and Edward's chemistry is off the charts. I cannot believe how much chemistry they have. It was so fun to just watch them in scenes together. They could be standing beside each other, not even talking, and you wanted to watch more. I'm also hoping that even though the show did get canceled, it plays a role in like reviving new age fantasy. Obviously, we have Lord of the Rings on Prime Video and a ton of romantasy book options, but as someone who grew up on fantasy, I would love to see more options in the TV space and the movie space in like my 20s and 30s. How fun would that be? Next, we're going to talk about The Bear season 3 on Hulu. Y'all know I had to talk about The Bear. I love The Bear. And it stars Jeremy Allen White, Iowa Debris, Eben Moss-Backrack, Liza Colin-Zayas, and my boy Will Poulter is back. One critique that I heard a lot about season 3 was the idea that it felt a little bit more highbrow art and maybe even a little pretentious compared to past seasons, which had gravity and really drove the characters forward. But I think that episodes like Ice Chips, which is where sugar gives birth, kind of contradict that idea. Ice Chips is so grounded and beautiful and very comparable to Fishes from last season, which is one of my favorite contemporary television episodes of all time. And also the fact that the season really ups the stakes. Somehow we're more stressed and more anxious than ever. It's very impressive to me. And the last thing I'll say about The Bear is it's so fascinating and heartbreaking to see the end of the season, seeing the way that Carmy has affected Sydney, the way that his head chefs have affected him, and seeing kind of the fallout of some of their arguments and the stress that he puts on her. Very, very heartbreaking, and I'm angry at him. But I am so excited to see what season 4 does with their relationship and their dynamic and just the restaurant in general. And also what Sydney is going to do moving forward. Pachinko season 2 on Apple TV, I had high hopes for, and it absolutely blew my expectations out of the water. The show stars Anna Sawai, Minha Kim, Soji Arai, and it is such a beautiful piece of art. Number one, to just look at. Every single shot is beautiful. And I really love art that makes me feel. And the show captures emotion in a way that I have never seen before. It's so beautiful, but it's also honest at the same time. Every single episode, I'm taken aback by the contrast between what's happening in the story and the overwhelming joy of the theme song, which is such a good choice. That doesn't even have anything to do with the story, but it's such a good choice to have the theme song just come right in the middle of whatever's happening in the episode, because life is all about multitudes and we experience highs and lows. Good things end, and I'm a firm believer that bad things get better, or at least mostly, almost always, they get better. And it's such a way to underscore that in an unavoidable way, because you're sitting there in the episode and suddenly the theme song comes on and you're like, whoa, this is making me feel very interesting feelings. I don't know how I feel about this contrast. And I was also watching it and just weeping during the beginning, like episode 2, maybe it was like 10:30 on a Tuesday, and I was just crying at my desk, which is actually a recommendation because I love when TV makes me emotional. It's kind of a barometer. Y'all have to watch this. Next, we're going to talk about Only Murders season 4, which you can watch on Hulu. Of course, we have Selena Gomez, Martin Short, Steve Martin. This show almost lost me. I'm not going to lie. I have a really hard time with comedies, and season 3 was really difficult for me to engage with for some reason. But this season 4, had such gravity and did such a good job, once again, like The Bear, of raising the stakes while at the same time providing a little bit of levity without one like overwhelming the other. It wasn't just slapstick, and some of the choices they made felt and came across as sinister when that emotion could have been sacrificed for humor. I appreciated that things like Saz getting incinerated I still can't believe that, made me respond with outright horror. And then we would turn around and be laughing at a joke from Martin Short. It was such an interesting tension, but it worked this season. And I loved the contrast between those two things. And hopping on that train, Martin Short just keeps getting funnier and funnier. My roommate and I spent the entire season texting each other things that he said from the show. Martin, we love you. Keeping on the Hulu train, Shōgun is an absolute cannot miss TV show. It stars Anna Sawai, Hiroyuki Sanada, Cosmo Jarvis. It's so rich in both the world building, the script, the character relationships. Every single detail serves a purpose. I have a creative writing degree, and I learned in class that if you can remove a detail from a story and nothing about the story changes, then the detail basically didn't need to be there. In Shōgun, everything matters. You care about everything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a positive emotion. You can be really angry or really sad about something, but considering the opposite of love is apathy and not hate, caring at all is kind of the mark of a good TV show for me. And controversially, I'm putting Outer Banks season 4 on my best TV shows of 2024. You can stream it on Netflix, and y'all know the cast includes Rudy Ponco, Chase Stokes, Madeline Klein, Madison Bailey, Drew Starkey, Carlacia Grant, Jonathan Davis. This is a huge main cast. This season of Outer Banks recaptured the magic of season 1. Being on the Outer Banks provided so much familiarity and groundedness that required less suspension of disbelief. Last year, when they just hopped on a tiny plane and made a transatlantic flight and then crashed in the ocean, and then Key was immediately kidnapped by pirates. I don't even, honestly, what was even happening? That just required a little bit too much for me. That was a little bit too outlandish for me. But hyping up the relationships and the fighting between the kooks and the pogues, I think, is where the show shines. And so moments like the turtle hatch on the beach really emphasize the fact that these are just teenagers in crazy situations, and reminds us what the actual core and heartbeat of the story is. The pace was enjoyable and understandable, while at the same time the stakes were still raised without thinking someone was going to die every 2 episodes, which is what happened in season 2. And I will say, I am one of the people who wept during the season 4 finale. I was sad for 2 weeks. I'm not even kidding. I couldn't think about anything else. Whether or not you think the decision to kill off JJ was a good idea, the fact that so many people are having such emotional reactions to the decision to kill him off once again proves how much they care about the show, which I think is a mark of a good show. Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Prime Video is another example of unbelievable chemistry between leads. Oh my goodness. I've been thinking about it since I watched it this winter, earlier this year. Maya Erskine and Donald Glover are unbelievable together. The show flips the narrative from the movie, and instead of having them be a married couple working for opposite spy organizations, they're strangers working for the same organization under the disguise of a married couple. And so it provides a slow burn that we don't see in TV a lot anymore, and a different kind of will they won't they, where you don't exactly know what's going to happen. You're hoping they fall for each other. You're waiting for them to fall for each other. I love that kind of stuff. And then you have all the tension between their feelings for each other and their responsibilities as operatives. Could not recommend more. Next, we have Hacks on Max. That made me giggle. Jean Smart, Hannah Einbinder, another phenomenal duo. The show does a phenomenal job of balancing humor and heart at the same time, and providing a little bit of a power struggle between their characters. And honestly, a power struggle in any sense, in any capacity, is always going to make for good TV. And Brit & Co. editor Haley Sprinkle and I were talking about the show, about how as soon as season 3 ended, we were automatically ready for season 4. It's laugh out loud funny, but their push and pull is so electric that you are just needing more all the time. Interior Chinatown on Hulu. I had such high hopes for this show, and I loved it. Oh my gosh. Chloe Bennett, Jimmy O Yang, Ronnie Chang. I was so not expecting the almost outright SVU call out. I laughed out loud. That was one of my favorite moments. And just like so many of the other shows on this list, it's so clever and the scripts are so well done. And its ability to balance edge and comedy and this new age of television with really heartfelt commentary on identity and purpose was so impactful. And I just wanted to be with these characters all the time. I'm also obsessed with Chloe Bennett, so anywhere Chloe Bennett goes, I'll follow. So one show hopefully you've heard of, if not, today's the day, is Big Mood on Tubi, and it stars Nicola Coughlan from Bridgerton and Lydia West, and the show is so phenomenal. It made me feel so seen as a 20-something with like jokes about Reddit and the internet, but at the same time, the commentary on mental illness, the reality of having mental illness, and then the reactions to having a mental illness, themes like that will always be needed on TV. And their ability to translate what Nicola Coughlan's Maggie is feeling, both through Nicola's insane acting and the production and post-production choices of like editing and color grading, is phenomenal. Is so well done. And because Big Mood and Bridgerton are so different, and Maggie and Penelope Featherington are so different, we see a whole other set of acting skills from Nicola. It's unbelievable. And the relationship between the women is, we love female friendships. More female friendships in 2025, please. And the final best show of 2024 for now is Lady in the Lake on Apple TV+. It stars Natalie Portman, Moses Ingram, Noah Jupe, Mikey Madison. Stacked cast. The casts this year have been insane. Let's talk about that. Insane cast. Because everybody completely knocked it out of the park. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It keeps you engaged. It makes you think and feel at the same time. And point blank, any series that dives into the nitty-gritty of race, politics, gender, especially during historical periods that have kind of been sanitized, is always a good idea. Like and subscribe to Brit & Co. for all of the exclusives, interviews, and think pieces that you definitely do not want to miss. And happy almost 2025. Thanks for watching.